into bone marrow biopsy. Just use full self-driving all the way from Danville to the Bay Bridge. Absolutely insane. I'm here with Alex. Alex is going to drive me back. We got full robot driving mode. I'm going to take over here though because I want to get in. Oh, that's 3 only. So this is absolutely nuts. I haven't touched the wheel or gas pedal all the way from Danville to the Bay Bridge. Got through that 580 interchange insanely good. Super impressed. Anyway, bone marrow biopsy coming up. Talk to you later. Monday night, January 6th. No biopsy today. I basically went in and they drew blood and I met with my doctor and we discussed my transplant today. I don't have a donor yet, even though the transplant is probably a couple months out, but they may do it earlier. Everything's kind of up in the air based on results and a lot of variables. But Tamer Othman, my doctor, went into great detail about the DNA matching and explained me how some of the DNA is not important, some of it's important, and there's like different levels, like a 12-12 is like 100%, there's even a 10-10 which is basically 100%, and then it kind of goes down to like an 8-8 match, and that's just different types of DNA that match. And then it gets a little worse. It gets into like an 8-7, I think it is, and worse. And so, of course, you want the 12-12 or the 10-10 or the 8-8. But there's really good drugs that they can use to help your body accept basically this new immune system that they're going to pump into you from somebody else, the donor. And I'm just hoping my brother's a really good match because I think I'm going to be a hard to find match because of where my parents are from and so forth. And so didn't think about it a lot today. I just felt like, okay, got lots of information, and I'm going to go in this Thursday for the bone marrow biopsy. They did tell me that, you know, my blood counts are really good and that typically anybody with counts as high as mine are going to be in remission. So they felt like I'm still in remission, which is great. I feel good. So tonight, like an hour ago, I'm making my cheater soup, you know, trying to just juice it up a little bit with, like I said, bone broth and putting in chicken and all kinds of other things in there. Anyway, I get a text from somebody I don't know, and it turns out it's Tim's wife, I believe. Chessa, I believe is her name. And she was scared because Tim was getting a fever. He was getting a neutropenic fever. And she recalled my video of when I was going through neutropenic fever, and she was worried about him. They took him away, did an x-ray. He was going through super cold and then hot. And I think I've mentioned Tim before in my past videos. I have. This is a friend of Benny's. And I think Johan and George and all those guys know Tim. And probably Chessa as well. And so she just kind of reached out and said, I'm scared. And I kind of like tried to, you know, tell her my experience that it's going to be all right. It's neutropenic fever. It kind of, everybody gets it. They told me on my floor, everybody gets it. And you know, they do an x-ray. In my case, they brought the x-ray machine to the room. I think they hauled them out, which can be scary. All of a sudden you're leaving, they're going to go x-ray you, and then you're going to come back. And so she was scared, and I tried to reassure her that he's going to be all right. It's neutropenic fever. We all get it. He's going to be hot. He's going to be cold. He's going to get Tylenol. They're going to give him antibiotics, and he's going to be okay. You know, we all going through chemo That 7-3 type of chemo for blood cancer, you get the neutropenic fever. And so I did my best to reassure her, and we exchanged some information, and she sent me this link on this podcast, which was this amazing story. And I'll put it in the comments below if anybody's interested in listening. It's a little long, but the first half of it will give you the kind of the whole gist of it. The second half goes into some other really kind of deep things, which were super interesting also. I didn't complete it. I got about 10 minutes left. My battery was dying on my laptop, and it's getting late, and I ate soup, and I wanted to come out and do this video and talk about it. And so this girl is at a concert and saw this booth about Save a Life, donate your bone marrow. And so she, I think, donated her DNA basically to see if there was a match out there. Well, this other guy, I think a few years later, this Jim guy, this really interesting dude, had AML, a different kind of form of AML I haven't heard about, or leukemia actually. And he needed a bone marrow transplant. And she ended up being his match. And it was just kind of this interesting story because he was also a tough match, and it was like a 1 in 8 million. And I'm kind of up there too. My match is out there somewhere. I just hope they've donated bone marrow. And it's a little scary because when you start thinking about the match and the process of your body accepting these new stem cells, accepting this new immune system, and all the host of things that can go wrong, it's kind of scary. And it really got me thinking, like, fuck, I am really deep in the woods still on this thing, and I got a long way to go. I'm gonna get round 2 chemo, probably round 3 chemo. I have this fucking FLT3 gene mutation, which adds an extra complication to the whole thing. And that bone marrow transplant, I think, is going to be super important for me. And then listening to that podcast got me really thinking about it, and how lucky you have to be to have that person that's out there somewhere in the world that happened to donate. I just hope it's my brother, and I hope he's a solid match. But yeah, so it just, I love talking to her, but it was a wake-up call for me, because I feel like I'm at home. I'm just I feel super good. I don't feel like anything's wrong with me, but I do have this fucking witch inside me, this AML FLT3 gene mutation that got turned on. I've got this fucking demon inside me, and we need to get it out. And I don't know how else to describe it. And so we're putting a lid on it with the chemo, but I'm going to need that transplant to really get it out, because they're going to basically replace my immune system with somebody else's. And so it was a bit of a wake-up call. It's got me a little scared. I'm feeling good, though. I'm feeling strong. I'm confident that match is out there. It might take a while for them, but they did tell me today that there was no success so far in finding an alternate match. But there are a lot of successful cases of matches that aren't perfect that end up working out well. And the whole process of replacing your immune system is extremely risky and scary. I don't know why I'm saying all this, but it just, watching or listening to that podcast was chilling. And if anybody's interested in really understanding about a bone marrow transplant or wants to donate a bone marrow transplant, or your DNA to see if you're a possible donor that you could actually save somebody's life, it's a really, really interesting listen. So I'm going to link it down below. That's all I really got today. I'm fueling up. I'm doing good. I'm taking care of all my little problems. I feel great, but I know this fucking demon is inside me still. And I just hope that my team, and I have faith in them, can extract this fucking shit. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm here. I love everybody that's supporting me and giving me the reach out still. And it was just so interesting texting with Chessa. Tim is so lucky to have that person there by his side. I have a team of friends, which is basically my support system. And I love all you guys that are there for me. And I hated hearing, that. Anyway, I just hated hearing about Tim's situation. I'd love to meet Tim and Chessa someday. I think I may have met Chessa in the past in Utah at Benny's place. I don't know. But anyway, we'll figure that one out in the future. Right on, Tim. If you're watching this, bro, you're going to be all right, dude. That Neutropenic Fever, we all get it. You're going to get through it. Just, put a bunch of blankets on when you're cold, shed them when you're all of a sudden, sweating it out, and just know that your team has got you covered. That Tylenol is going to help. Those antibiotics are going to help. You're going to be all right, dude. You've got straight AML, I think. You don't have any gene mutations. Make sure, ask your doctors if they're doing molecular testing on your bone marrow. You want to ask that. Is my bone marrow going through molecular testing? Because that's like the micro, extreme micro next level of testing where they'll be able to hash out some more information about your diagnosis. And I would assume they are. Sounds like you're in a university. Anyway, ask that question. Right on, guys. Love you all. And listen to that podcast. It's fucking chilling. It's a crazy story. And thank you, Chessa, for reaching out and offering that to me. All right, that's all I got for now. I'm out. And until next one, see ya. Yeah, so one last thing before I sign out of this thing. After Chessa, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, sends me that link and I listen to that podcast and I'm tripping out, I get a text from Johan and he sends me this picture of himself. He was freshly out of his transplant. He's 145 pounds. I can't even recognize the guy. It looks like a different person. And granted, it was 9 years ago, but he had a successful transplant. He had his match. He found his match. And I'm telling him something about my journey. And he says, which is classic, he says, journey is constant. We're all on one. And it's so true. I know life is a journey. But this is like a little side quest you never asked for. You're on a little vacation from that journey and you didn't want it. And so, it's crazy, but thank you, Johan, for chiming in. It was just, what a surreal evening, seeing my doctor about the whole DNA thing and talking transplant. Then Chessa sending me this link about this crazy transplant. And then Johan chiming in at the very end of the night, like at 11:30, after all this, showing me his successful transplant. And he's still with us 9 years later. So there's hope. My match is out there. I hope it's my brother. Anyway, love y'all. See ya.